A great meeting point, convenient light meals, hot and cold beverages, or a quick snack on the go? What's your order for the day? We don't just say, we do. It's the Stain City way.
Hello and welcome to Real Talk on SABC3. The stage is yours. Boy, do we have a show for you today. We've turned the stage into a dance fest. There's some of the dancers from the world-class cast of Lord of the Dance Dangerous Games will be joining me a little later in the show, so be sure not to miss that. But did you see that dancing? That was me earlier. I'm, auditioning for my next gig. You know me, I like money. But listen, first, mankind has long survived and existed on the ability to enter into relationships. If it weren't for relationships, we wouldn't be able to get into marital unions, expand our families, or advance ourselves as a society. But over time, the types of relationships we have entered into have changed drastically. Today, we're exploring modern-day dating and relationships. We'll be looking at all options available to us, from Cougars, Blessers, Blessees. We're exploring them all. To kick off the conversation, we welcome Jonty Searle, a conscious sexuality practitioner who also counsels numerous couples in their relationships. We also get to meet Trevor Harris and Donna Dennis, who together are in an open relationship. It's going to be interesting. Jonty, what is an conscious sexuality practitioner?
So the world of conscious sexuality is kind of the mindfulness of sex, including practices from the East, from Tantra, from Taoist practices, and including modern sexual research. So it covers the spectrum of human sexuality and sensuality without judgment, in an open and honest way.
So when you say you counsel couples, like let's say me and my man come to you, what could our problem be for you to counsel us?
I work a lot with sexual problems, but relationships are an extension of sexual issues. So nobody teaches us to be good lovers, and that means having good relationships, how to communicate, the kind of relationships that we like to have, the purpose and possibility of relationships.
The purpose and possibility. Donna, so when you enter into an open relationship, were you guys first dating where you were just yourselves and then you decided you want to enter into an open relationship? Or did you say from word go, listen, this is an open relationship?
We started dating with the understanding that both of us had a history with open relationships.
Okay. All right.
And that was accepted as a basis where our relationship started.
So, Dennis, what are the rules? I don't want to call them rules because, then it's so limiting. But what are the understandings between you two when you say that you are in an open relationship?
For me, it basically means it's like any other relationship. It's a level of honesty and a level of openness that it should be in any relationship. So, the two of us don't have any secrets.
I called you Dennis.
That's fine. We don't have any secrets, and because of that, we can talk about any fantasies that we have and things that we want to explore, whether it's with each other or if that person's not available or doesn't necessarily want to do something, we can explore that outside of the relationship.
Do you guys live together?
Yes.
Okay, so because friends of mine are also in an open relationship, so I'm going to base this conversation on what I know from them. So they have a rule that if the one goes out, regardless of whether they have something with someone that night, when they come back home, they won't sleep in the same room. So do you guys have communications like that?
They won't sleep in the room.
So for instance, you guys sleep in the same room, right?
Correct.
But if you go out, I don't need to know what you did with who you did it with. But when you come home that night, you're not going to come into the bed, whether you did something or not.
No, our rules are completely different.
What are they?
We will know every detail of what happened. We want to know every detail of what happened. And we will also reconnect on an intimate, emotional level by sharing our space with each other again afterwards.
Wow. Okay.
So that's the thing, Anele, is that all of these relationships have very different rules. And the most important thing is for the parties involved to communicate and to be clear on how they would like their relationship to be. And that keeps changing because we change, our experiences change us. So how you do it doesn't really matter. The important thing is the clarity and the openness.
So you would be the person who counsels like me and my man through this there's new dimensions that we are now setting for the relationship.
That's right, yeah.
So kind of like relationship therapy then.
In a way, yes, except it's much more expansive because you're adding other people, you're adding other experiences into the mix. And that becomes a very different kind of relationship.
Okay, so Trevor, what are the ups and what are the downs of being in an open relationship?
I suppose it's the same in any relationship. But for me, the advantage is that I've got someone that I can share those experiences with. You know, if I have a bad experience, I've got someone that I can share that with too. So, you know, my partner is also my confidant. You know, I can share things with her that I wouldn't share with anyone else. So in a way, it plays the part of almost like a therapy session or someone that you can download to.
This actually reminds me of a meme, you know, like meme on the internet where it says, I hate it when I have a fight with my girlfriend and I can't tell my wife about it. Exactly. Because, I mean, if you marry someone and you love them, you want to tell them everything, but then, you know, there's a situation. So it means that you can't be a jealous person then, Donna.
Jealousy will come in at times. Nobody's immune to jealousy, especially in a relationship. But within an open relationship, you've actually got to face that jealousy and figure out what the trigger is, what's causing you internally to react in that way. Whereas a lot of people will just say, you know, I'm jealous in a traditional type of relationship. You may not talk to so-and-so. Whereas we're not in that position to say that. We've actually got to identify it and deal with it.
But do you find that you're not like lust to do it? You do because there's so much freedom. You just like, you know, I mean, there are no rules here. I'm not being, you know, restrained. You may only love me. You may only have sex with me.
Yeah, you don't have those rules, so you don't have those restraints. And you also have a situation which we have as a couple, which is one of our rules. If at any given time, for example, at a party, something makes me feel uncomfortable, all I have to do to Trevor is say to Trevor, no. He's not going to argue. He's going to accept my no.
Okay.
Which is, and that understanding comes from the two of us, that somebody is sensing something's not right. So before we go down that road and it blows up into a bigger mushroom, we'll both step back from it and resolve it together.
Okay, but what would not be right? Is it like if you sense that he is developing a feeling for someone?
Just an individual who's coming across incorrectly.
Okay.
Or, yeah, a sixth sense as a woman.
Okay.
Something is not quite right with this particular individual you're engaging with. You're not comfortable. We don't have to explain I'm not comfortable. We just we have the ability to say no.
Janti, with the couples that you have counseled, what happens if, you know, you are in an open relationship like this and then somebody falls in love with somebody else?
Well, that's going to happen because that can happen anywhere at any time with anybody. So that's not exclusive to open relationships, but it's more likely to happen in that space. And that's where you need to talk. That's where you need to deal with it. That's where you need to communicate. And the bottom line of it is at some point you have to choose what the most important thing to you is. And if your relationship, if your prime relationship is the most important thing, then you withdraw from other spaces.
Trevor, have you ever fallen in love with somebody else or developed strong feelings for somebody else that you were?
No.
Not at all?
Not at all.
This is your girl?
Yeah.
And you?
Being a mother, you understand that it's possible to love in different ways. So you will become very close to somebody you're intimate with, but they're not your primary partner. You love or care for them in different ways.
And it's okay?
And it's okay, because you can't be everything to one person.
I agree with that.
So somebody else, you will be, you know, for Trevor, I'm his primary partner. I'm slightly younger than him. I can spend time with a man that's younger than me. So, you know, I'm someone different to him. So you're not that cut, die, cast individual.
It's a hectic level of comfort. Listen, we're not holding back today, and we'd like to get your thoughts and your approaches to relationships, as well as the challenges that come with them. If you'd like to ask questions or just share your opinion, send us a 20-second voice note to the number that you see on the screen. After the break, we meet a woman who has chosen celibacy in today's over-sexualized world. Trevor will be leaving us, but he's going to come back a little bit later. Donna and Janti are staying with me. Come back. And welcome back to Real Talk, where today we're taking a look at modern day dating and relationships. Before the break, we met Trevor Harris and Donna Dennis, who are in an open relationship. Joining us as well now, I want to welcome Amanda Ndiki to the couch. She's an author of a book called Stepping Into Your True Self, an account of how she's done exactly that. And now divorced, she opted for a life of celibacy too. Welcome to the show, Amanda.
Thank you, Anele.
So you just decided you're not gonna sleep with anyone, but you wanna look that hot.
Yes.
It's a little unfair. Tell me why.
I think it was a personal decision at first, and then it became a spiritual decision. And after finding the benefits of being with oneself and meeting Amanda at a deeper level, then I found the joy and the happiness that I've been looking for in attaching with relationships. I found the validation of validating Amanda and empowering Amanda at a deeper level from within.
So John T says something interesting. He says that people shouldn't enter into an open relationship without going through counseling. Now, I want to ask you, with Amanda's decision, should Amanda be making decisions like that about her life without going through counseling?
Yes and no. If you really go into yourself, we have enormous knowledge within us. We have an incredible sense of ourselves. And if we're willing to make a journey of inquiry into ourselves, then yes, but we need tools to do that. And very often, we'll get those tools from something outside. So for any decision like that, having somebody to share with and to share your journey with and your discoveries along the way becomes important, because we see ourselves in reflection. Somebody gives us insight into ourselves that we won't always have.
But Donna, you are nodding at everything Amanda was saying, and you guys are, obviously worlds apart.
I understand the journey of self-discovery. I understand the journey of getting to know yourself and being selfish with regards to yourself before sharing that with anybody else.
But you also would have to, and I believe you know yourself. I don't know you long, but I know this now, that you do know yourself very well. How did that journey happen for you? Because for her, she says it was a personal one, then a spiritual one. What was yours?
Mine was personal as well, and also getting divorced. Getting divorced and finding out that in my marriage, in my previous, I was everything to everybody else and nothing to myself.
And it's also important to understand, what is your relationship with sex?
Yes.
Yeah.
What makes you love sex? What is the relationship? Why are you doing it? Understand your why. So we just do it because the society expects us to do. When you're in a relationship, you're just expected to sleep with a person, but not having understanding of why are you doing it? I mean, it's the tools, even in the relationship. Why are you doing it? We don't have that answer most of the time. We just do it because we found people doing it. But is it a personal and a deep understanding as to why are you engaging? What fulfillment is it bringing unto you? Because most of us, we engage because sometimes we're looking for validation. Sometimes
you're looking for love.
You're looking for love. Sometimes you think sex will fill the void that you have, and you're getting married, and once you find that, but none of this is actually filling this void. So I need to look deep within and really find out, what is the relationship with Amanda in sex? Is the sex the tool that drives me to stay in the relationships, or is it because I'm looking for something more than just sex? Now the journey starts there, where you start to reflect. And the beauty about reflections, then, you understand to tap into your inner self, your dysfunctions and the weaknesses that in most of the times we hide with these relationships and sexual engagements. Now you start facing your inner demons that you never wanted to face, and you become a better person.
Can you do you date now?
I don't date.
Okay.
Yes.
Why don't you date? Because, we can date and not have sex, right?
Yes, it's a choice. I'm at a space where I'm just really comfortable with my own company. I love being with Amanda. For now, can I just share her with myself and my purpose? You know, the girls that I impact, the people that I impact. Oh, to you two girls that I must say hi.
To you two girls, hello.
To you two girls, I was motivating them on Saturday, so they were just screaming. So for now, I enjoy being Amanda, being independent, drawing strength from myself, and not attaching what joy is with outside of Amanda. So I'm happy with myself in this journey. If time comes for me to get into relationships, because there's no rush. Why should I rush? Because everybody's doing it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to.
But you are married and you have a child.
Yes, I have a child.
Very pretty. Very, very cute. Okay,
Thank you.
but
Yes.
Okay.
So conscious sexuality says make whatever choices you're going to make, whether that's a choice for celibacy or an open relationship, but know where you're making the choice from. And everything in that becomes a tool for learning and growth. So if you're just having mindless sex, even if you're having sex with a lot of people, as a lot of open relationships are, there's no real awareness in that. So there's no growth, there's no purpose. It just becomes another experience and another experience. It's like eating another meal, another meal, another meal, but you're never really enjoying the food. You're never really savoring the food and making these connections. So you look at a couple like Donna and Trevor, and they've taken that to a space where it's a tool for growth and for exploration. And Amanda's done the same thing in her way. And the important thing is to say, are we making choices from the heart or are we making fear-based choices?
Fear. You said you must ask yourself a question about sex. What was that question?
Your relationship with sex.
Okay, Donna, what is your relationship with sex?
My relationship with sex, it's a pleasure for me. It's not a need. It's not an expectation. It's a form of pleasure for me. So I can go weeks, months without engaging with anybody else. It just because I'm in an open relationship doesn't mean I must and I have to. I have
And
the
also doesn't mean you
choice.
can just like go like whoa, everybody, it's open, let's go.
It's a choice I make with a particular individual. And I have the freedom to make that choice.
Now, anyone can answer this question. My biggest gripe with South Africans and the way that we're raising our youth is we want them to just fear sex, and it's almost this thing that we don't talk about. When do we have these conversations with them? Because, I mean, you know, they're starting to experiment from like as early as 10, guys, okay. But I mean, in the ideal world, it should be 18, but that's just my prudish side coming through, don't mind me. When we start having these conversations that, you know, you can be celibate, you can be in an open relationship, you should be going to counseling for sex.
Exactly, Anele. I mean, hence I'm saying on Saturday I was at the TU2 University, and these young girls were saying that it is so refreshing to have a perspective from a person to talk about such issues because they do affect us. Some of them are being raped by friends, some of them just engage without having any knowledge. But unfortunately, I don't know, maybe in whites, but in our blacks, makaya.
Don't talk about sex. You're like,
oh, we are lalang.
Oh, you're old now. You are running yourself now. You want to have sex. You're like, oh.
So you don't even know that, okay, but there's these hormones that are raging within you, and your mother just tells you, so I think there should be a time where, I mean, even times are changing, Anele. We should be having these conversations with our kids. I do have a conversation with my daughter.
But you don't have to ever have sex if you don't want to have
I don't say to her she must be celibate. I give her all the options and give her all the benefits. And I mean, even in our society, there's all this, the strategy, the ABC, abstain, be faithful, condomize. Let's inform them about all the aspects. But, you know, it focuses so much on condoms that the A is forgotten. It's as if you are practicing the A, something wrong with you, you know? So we should inform them about all these strategies.
From abstain, when we start sexual education.
Yes, abstain, be faithful, and condomize.
Okay, we're going to go for an ad break. My mind is getting blown away here. Thank you so much to Donna Dennis and John T. Searle. A little later in the show, we'll meet some of the lead dancers from the one and the only Lord of the Dance, Michael Flatley's Dangerous Games. They've just wrapped up in Cape Town and will be igniting the Teatro stage until the 3rd of September at Monte Casino. Stay with us for more real talk on modern-day relationships after the break. And welcome back. Modern day dating has proven more and more over the time to be akin to navigating through shark-infested waters. Let's just be honest. We live in an era of one-night stands, friends with benefits, situationships, and all this makes it tricky to sometimes know where you stand with a potential love interest. Try as we might not to, we all have expectations, and the question then becomes, how do we manage them? But more importantly, how do we manage ourselves? Joining Amanda now is Kofi Afori Boateng, speaker and author of Notes to My Sister, Let Him Serve You, and dating coach and goddess facilitator Magabelo KB Mutaung. It truly is a game of musical chairs here today. But
busy.
Tonga keep backstation, in, out. But I like it. I just like hearing from everyone. Now, Let Him Serve You. What's the premise of your book then?
Well, basically, it's all about women giving men the permission to love them, to treat them, to serve them how they need to be treated, loved, and served. We can see that women have that ultimate power.
Yeah.
When a man forces himself on a woman, he's doing exactly that. He's taking something that doesn't belong to him. But when she offers it to him freely and gives him the permission to come into her space and do what she needs to have done, so that she can reciprocate, that's a different thing entirely. So that's what we're talking about.
And then one of the, things that I know you stand for is women dating down. What is women dating down?
Women dating down. Why would I stand for that?
Yeah.
No.
So it's not you.
Wrong person.
Wrong person. All right. So what's your premise when it comes to relationships?
For me, I just believe that we easily rush into things without really enjoying the dating arena or the dating streets. We don't know how to navigate it. Even if we know, we often make so many wrong decisions that by the time we get to marriage, we are broken, totally beyond repair. Ooh. And so for me, it's like, okay, there's no place to go you've got places to go when you're getting married, premarital counseling, right? Yeah. But by then, you've already chosen a partner. And lobola has already been paid. Yeah,
I never get that. I don't know why we counsel you when we've decided that this is it.
And then your next help after that is if your marriage is struggling, which is marital counseling. Yeah. But where do I go for people to help me before I even choose a partner? Which is why we need to date wisely and have people teach us how to navigate the dating world so that we avoid the two other steps that are there after you've made the decisions with the person,
Okay, Amanda, picking up from what KB is saying, what do you wish you were taught, like in this counseling game, when you were dating your ex-husband, before saying, yes, I'll marry you, before, starting what was meant to be a lifelong journey?
Anele, I don't think it's something you can be taught. It is something you need to find within you. You need to understand how you want to be loved. You can't meet a person if you've never met yourself. So you need to meet Anele and understand how Anele wants to be loved, how Anele wants to be cherished. So we commit not understanding, not even mastering our own selves, yet we want to master the next person. So master you within you, then it's so easy to attract the right kind of person that is going to complement you. So we go out there being empty. And then we attract the same emptiness, and it becomes a mess in a marriage. But when you are full, having filled yourself with what works for Anele, the next person that you're going to attract is the same person that you are, because we attract what we are.
Okay, you're nodding.
I am.
Tell me why you're nodding.
I'm nodding because I agree with that. Something that I advocate very strongly is that people learn to love themselves, first and foremost, before they even think about loving someone else. I find in my experience that a lot of people go out there looking for someone else to fill them up, someone else to give to them, someone else to give their lives meaning or to give them an identity. But if you haven't carved one out for yourself or shaped one out for yourself, then all this person's ever going to really do is imprint their standard on you. And I find a lot of people who are broken by this process because, I mean, if we look at the divorce stats, for example, a lot of people hit a certain age where they realize, you know what, actually, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be with this person. This is the wrong person for me. And the partner is shocked thinking, but you were supposedly in the right frame of mind when you chose me, but not necessarily. He or she may have been bound to societal pressure, bound to family pressure and the like.
But what about maybe I married you because I loved you then and I don't love you now? It's not that I didn't know myself then. I knew myself very well and I knew that I wanted to be with you, hence I married you. And now I don't love you anymore, so let me move on.
It happens. I think for me, people are allowed to change their minds. We don't own human beings at any point. And I think, again, the mistake that I'm picking up is that we tell people how to love them. We tell them love yourselves, but we never quite get into the detail of how to do the loving business. My daughter would one day ask me, would say, so how must I love myself? Like, how do I do it?
Yeah, like when I walk out of here today at 6 o'clock.
Spotlights, I'm like, that's a good question. Yeah. How do you love yourself? Because we are overusing this word, love yourself, but how? Like, if I can ask you that, how do you do it? Sometimes I do seminars for women, and one of the things I always ask them is, okay, tell me 10 things that you love about yourself. And we battle. You
get to 3 and you're like,
but if I can tell you, Anele, tell me 20 things that you hate about yourself, you give me more.
Yeah.
You'll give me more naturally. So as much as we say, yes, we encourage self-love, but let's get to the essence of what it is.
How do you do it?
Yes,
How do you love
How
yourself?
do I know I love myself? So you're saying I love myself, but how do I know I'm now in a position where I'm loving myself and therefore another person can love me? Or
Amanda,
For
how
me,
did you do it?
When you are not validated by external factors, you love yourself.
But okay,
when you are not validated,
but how do you get there? Ke?
it has to be an internal process. There's no other way. You need to find time to yourself and say, I am starting a journey of understanding who Amanda is. It starts
So what,
there.
do you write? Do you eat differently? Do you
you-
sleep earlier? Do you drink water?
I'm going to tell you now, if a relationship is a distraction to you, if you are so, maybe you are dependent. I think we had a bit of a chat at the back room. If men are a distraction to you, then that's your starting point, because our journeys are different. I can't talk about my journey of celibacy. Maybe your struggle is something else. But we had a brief discussion about men and jumping from this and this. So I'm saying, if that is your point of struggle, start there and say, okay, maybe this month I had 10 men that I didn't want to be with, because it becomes an addiction. You do some things that you don't like. You start saying...
But what my cry is, what happens if I do like it? What happens if I do like having 10 men?
But then, if you like it, then you
it's
don't have
fine.
a problem.
Okay.
Don't come to us. But she's saying it's a problem. But if it's not a problem, then live with it. If you sleep at night, live with it. But if you have internal conflict, then obviously something inside of you says, change. And that's where self-love starts in, where you start having internal conflicts and you feel that when you do certain things, you are not at peace with them. That is your beginning of your self-love journey.
How do you learn to love yourself?
For me, it was exactly that. So after my divorce, actually prior to my divorce, my stepdaughter asked me a question. She was on some, you don't strike me as someone who really loves yourself. And I had to stop and think about it for a second. I was like, why do you say that? She says, because you think about everyone else before you, and we can see you burning out. So I had to go inside, re-examine my life, and honestly look at my reasons for getting into marriage, honestly look at my reasons, or rather my life at that point, and I realized that I wasn't happy and I really didn't love myself. If I had, I wouldn't have put myself in a situation where I was now going to cause someone pain because I hadn't done the due diligence in ensuring that I was ready for marriage, for example. So I had to go back. I had to now start looking at what was working, what wasn't working for me as Kofi, what needed to be done away with, what needed to be introduced into my life. I learned to be patient with myself. I learned to be less judgmental of myself. I learned to be...
So you learned to give the love that you gave to everyone to yourself?
To myself. Yeah. At the end of the day.
And really, love is not just about love, it's about commitment. It's like work, Anele. There's days you feel like, I have to go to real talk, but I am tired. But the commitment drives you. Yes. So if you're just going to depend on your feelings and emotions every time, that I don't feel like the way I used to feel about him 5 years ago, you need to put in commitment and other factors that makes you come to this studio and give your best each and every day.
But I also think...
No, wait, we have to take an ad break. Sorry, we have to pay the bills. Sorry. We say goodbye to Amanda and Digi. Thank you so much for your time.
So much,
After the break, we'll welcome back Trevor Harris to wrap up the conversation that we're having. We'll be right back. So once upon a time, if you set your sights on a woman, you would court her with the purpose of asking her for a hand in marriage. Unions between partners have long been in existence and vary from polygamous marriages to arranged unions. However, divorce statistics have never been higher, and there's a lot of evidence suggesting that young people prefer to wait it out till they're older to tie the knot with someone, with some even saying that marriage is an outdated institution. Now, I want to talk about this marriage being an outdated institution. But you were saying something earlier, and I think it was important.
Yeah, so what I wanted to say was it's amazing how our templates for love is different. Yeah. You know, where it all originates from for everybody. You know, for somebody else, they've been taught that love is giving yourself. For somebody else, they've been taught that love is providing a service to somebody else. So it's all different for all of us, depending on what our idea of love is, or from where we were raised as well, you know.
So then let's carry on. A big question for everyone, is marriage an outdated institution?
It's not outdated, but it's becoming trickier by the day because there's more options. It's advancing like technology, you know, we need to keep up with the times. But besides that, you need to cultivate relationships in such a way that they fit with the modern times and whatever is available. Just for example, what they are doing is although it's always been there, I'm sure, but open marriage. But because of the times that we're moving,
It suits them.
it suits
so
them
find what
as well.
suits you.
Yeah.
Trevor, would you say that marriage is an outdated institution?
I wouldn't say it's outdated. I think it depends on each person and each couple that goes into a relationship. You know, if it works for you, it works for you. Who are we to question any belief system if it works for those people?
Kofi, I mean, you divorced. What are your feelings on marriage now?
I'm all for it. It's a great thing. It's a great institution, as long as you know that it is an institution, and
Yeah.
as long as you know what that entails, the responsibilities that it comes with, the commitments that it engenders, and basically the legal aspects of it as well. Because I think a lot of the time we just rush into it thinking that love conquers all, love will fuel it, but it's bigger than that. It's a commitment not just of two people, but sometimes of two families, depending on the culture. And in that context, it serves a huge purpose.
So you're basically saying that if you ask someone, why are you marrying Anele? And they're like, because I love her, they are in trouble.
Well, then my first question to them would be, explain what you understand love to be to me. What do you understand it to be? Because a lot of people equate love with feelings, and that may be the modern definition of it. But love is actually, to my understanding, a verb, a doing word. So now you need to exercise patience with this person. You need to show trust with this person, show faith with this person, show respect towards this person and towards yourself. Can you keep this up consistently? And even though there will be lapses from time to time, will you be able to do this for the rest of your life, for example? Could you really do that? If not, then perhaps you're not ready for marriage. If you believe you are and you're willing to give it your best shot, then by all means go for it.
Okay, we've got a WhatsApp voice note, and I'd like for everyone to get into the discussion to answer this question. Roll it.
Good evening, Miss Anele. I know you're short out of time, but I'd like to remain anonymous. It's just that there's no ways I can love myself. I cannot do the affirmations, looking in the mirror and saying that you're beautiful and I just cannot do that. I cannot love myself. So does that mean I have to accept the fact that I'll never have a partner in life?
That doesn't mean you can't have a partner.
What does it mean? Because earlier we said that, you know, if you don't love yourself, you can't find anyone else who's going to love you because you attract what you are, right?
Exactly. So,
Okay.
And that's a very powerful point. So if that's her belief system, and that's what she's putting out there, that's what she's going to attract, someone probably on that same vibration. She might meet someone who genuinely wants to care for her, love her, treat her how she deserves to be treated. But for as long as she doesn't believe she's worthy of that kind of love, she will not be accepting of it. She might try to, but she might even block herself in the process.
Yeah, I also think that, you know, receivers or givers need receivers. So for him, it might be okay to give love, but also you can't be on the receiving end. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that with love. At some point, you need to learn to give it and to receive it as well for it to work mutually. It's not a one-sided business.
You can't learn the balance of, so what you're saying is, you can't learn the balance of giving and receiving if you don't love yourself.
Yeah, yes and no, but also I think love can be learned. Self-love can be learned. It can be taught, if there's such a word. It can be taught. She can still learn it. She can still teach herself to love herself.
But you're saying she can't do the affirmations.
It's not about the
and
affirmations
exercises.
only. It's not about the affirmation. The fact that she even realizes she can't love herself is self-love to me. She acknowledges something about herself and she's made peace with it from the sound of it. That's some type of love.
Point,
yes.
yeah.
You're nodding.
I agree. I think acknowledging it is the first step. And I think just by acknowledging is the biggest step. And it's often the step that most people avoid. Just because you don't love yourself doesn't mean you can't be in a relationship with anyone. The same as any marriage, you know, just because you love the person doesn't need to be married to the person.
Oh.
Just something different to think about.
Wow.
So,
What a bomb. Just because you love a person, it doesn't need to be, you need to be married to them.
Exactly.
Wow, I actually had a question for you, but now I've hit a blank.
But we also have types of relationships where you'd find that love is not required, unfortunately, because of the nature of the relationship.
it might be a friendship.
It might be a friendship, yes, but it might be something else, like a sexual relationship where love is not required, or whatever the case is, you know. So maybe what she wants to, or she might try doing, is finding the relationships where love is not required. But for institutes like marriage and so forth, you need you need
So
the
you just find a
essentials.
relationship that perhaps
that
just needs
doesn't require love,
companionship.
and it's companionship, and you go do your business.
I think she's like saying, yes, I'm getting the groove back. Is it not wrong that we're in a place where we believe that you have to be married forever?
You know, I was about to say that marriage is no longer a necessity like it was. It's an option now.
Yeah.
You've got an option to stay married. You've got an option to be celibate and not be in a relationship. You've got an option. So we're living in times where you must just make the decisions for yourself, and not so much society must make them for you. That's the good part.
I think the biggest thing, it doesn't matter what label you want to put to, whether it's marriage or love or how you define it. The biggest thing is non-judgmental.
Yeah.
It's being non-judgmental about someone else. Yeah. Because essentially that non-judgmental aspect about the person, if you judge someone, it's based on your own insecurity and your own fears.
Yeah.
And that applies across the board.
Is it wrong? What do you feel about this whole notion that we must be married forever? I get it, but I mean, that's in the Christian faith of till death do us part. I don't believe in that. I don't think you have to be married forever. I think you can be married for 5, 10, whatever it is. You can get married, and if it's not working out, you just leave it.
And once again, I go back to the fact that marriage is an institution.
Yeah.
A lot of people love to, hit us with the whole, God ordained marriage, and I say, fine, show me the scripture where that happens in the Bible.
Yeah.
God invented marriage, okay, fine, show me the scripture where it happens in the Bible. But the thing is, marriage is a societal construct, and society creates things out of necessity, and
fear.
Sometimes fear, control, governance, and all those things. So you need to decide, what purpose does this marriage serve in my life? Now, for a lot of people, that may sound a little cutthroat. It may sound a little cold, a little clinical, but the truth of the matter is, you cannot avoid the fact that this is a legal institution.
Yeah.
All right, so once you bring the law, state into it, you can't argue that this is, it's a contract at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And once you're in breach of contract,
Consequences.
there must be consequences. So now, that's not to be confused with loving the person that you're married to. Because once you're in that union, it'll be in your best interest to treat this person with respect, with affection, with love, basically meet them at their point of need in terms of their love language, for example. But if that's for life, for me personally, I believe it should be for life. But the reality of the matter is, people are dynamic creatures,
And dynamics change.
Dynamics change. Now, if you can stay in that, stay committed throughout the changes, great. If you can't do it and the situation is not conducive, I'm not the biggest proponent or advocate for divorce, but sometimes it is necessary.
Okay, listen, guys, this has been amazing. Okay, thank you very much for your time. What an insightful discussion. Keep your comments coming. We'll get around to them the next time we chat about relationships. I do think this has to be a monthly chat, because the fact that I'm blown away and I'm enlightened, this is an ongoing conversation that we must have. After the break, we wrap up the show with the must-see Lord of the Dance team. Stay with us. 20 years ago, the electric and insanely talented Michael Flatley had a dream to introduce his style of Irish dance to the world. The thrilling, fast-toe tapping production soon took the world by storm, and to date, more than 50 million people have seen the shows worldwide. The cast of the latest Lord of the Dance Dangerous Games are back in South Africa. Take a look.
If you have a dream and you're willing to work for that dream, you can have anything in the world. Nothing is impossible.
Please welcome to Real Talk lead dancers James Keegan, Caroline Gray, as well as Lewis Childs. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
James, I want to start with you. What is your role in the show?
I played the role of the Lord, so
Oh.
but,
We're not worthy, my lord.
Bow, please, so good guy, good girl, bad guy, so yeah.
And
the full
Caroline,
package.
what's your role?
I play the role of Saoirse, who is the good girl in the show, so James's love interest.
Oh, so now here's what I've always wanted to know, right? And this is like river dance, ne?
Yes, similar, yeah.
That's exactly it. But then there was like a more traditional one, where because they always played in South Africa during Christmas, Like, where there wasn't fireworks and it was just like lots of dancing and, you know, obviously the precision. Do you have to have long hair?
We don't actually have to have long hair, no.
Really? Because there was one time everyone had long hair and it looked like it makes sense because then you guys must, you know, the hair must wave like in unison.
Yeah, it does look better on stage if we have long hair, but we're able to kind of, my hair's actually not that long at the moment, so as long as we style it nicely to look good on stage, we're okay.
All right, Lewis, how did you get into this?
I started when I was about 5, after school lessons, and I've been dancing for 20 years now. So it all just snowballed into this.
So it's a thing. It's like if you're in this, like you are in the national team, you like you basically like representing your country, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we're all actually from the UK, but it's Irish dance. I've got Irish parents, so we were put into Irish dance to keep tradition going within the family, and it was just a hobby for us. Like we're so lucky because when Michael Flatley came onto the scene, it was the first time that he gave us something to aim for and to do it professionally. So we're just very lucky that we got the opportunity.
And what's the process, Caroline, to getting into the production? Did you audition many times? And then, let us know.
Yeah, well, most of the people that are in the show now would have started when they're very young. You compete you can compete to any age, but generally till you're about 18, 19. And then you would audition for the show. We hold auditions quite often. And then if you make the cut, then you get a place on tour. You're very lucky.
Lewis? Is the money good?
Yeah, it's a good job to have, and we get to travel the world. We get to dance in front of thousands of people, and we get to come to places like South Africa that we maybe wouldn't normally come to.
This is true, right? Yeah. This is true. And in terms of like the longevity of it then, James, because I mean, I don't think you could be doing this at 60, could you? Are there people in Ireland out there jumping in the air at 60?
There definitely is after a few pints of Guinness.
Which was going to lead me to my next question about your drinking habits.
Trust me, you want to see my dad at Christmas, he definitely thinks he's still 21.
Yeah.
But it's professionally, I mean, I'm about to turn 31. I think it's like a football player or any sportsman. It's kind of, you start getting a little more tired in the morning and stuff like that. So I guess into your mid-30s, 40, until you can do it no longer. But we look after ourselves a lot now, and big ice beasts. We stand in the ice every night and we stretch a lot. And
you're like ballerinas.
Yeah.
Right? Your bodies are basically what you're using. And how much creative input do you have into the show?
The girls would actually have a tiny bit more leeway with our solos and things like that, because people would have different styles. The boys' solos are very set, whereas the girls, we dance soft shoe, so it's obviously a little bit different. So we are allowed to, when we work with Michael and he comes out with us, he's very into kind of promoting people's different styles and showing off what you're good at. So we do have a good bit of creative input into it.
So James touched on the fact that, you know, Michael is like, Michael, right? So how often is he with you guys? Is he touring with you guys everywhere in the world? Are you at every date with him?
He was touring with us until probably last year. He was actually dancing at the casino last year, but he retired. His last show was in Las Vegas, I think, at Caesar's Palace. So he took a step back, but he's still very much involved and giving us tips and advice, and he's very much the manager or the person that we would go to. And I mean, you guys are all then aiming to be him one day, right?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. Well, he's just like, he wants us to fulfill our dreams. I know it sounds cheesy, but and he has given us that opportunity to do that. So it's he loves working with us. Like Lewis said, if he's not out on tour with us, we speak on the phone with him, and he just loves seeing us love what we do. Do you know? I think that's his thing now.
Dream of his.
Exactly. Yeah. So you know, he's just. He is a bit of the
I know. Right?
Even though he's our boss and we work with him, but you still kind of pinch yourself sometimes. Like, I'm dancing here with Michael Flatley. What's going on?
Caroline,
cool.
what are the rehearsal times like? Because listen, precision, eh? No one can be out because you stick out like a sore thumb. So I imagine you guys are at it for hours.
We do have a lot of rehearsal time. We all get together before a tour, and we'd do some rehearsals and make sure everyone's on point and everyone's doing exactly what they're supposed to be. And then we go in an hour or two before the show every day and just make sure everything's perfect for every audience that comes to see us.
And do people get dropped? Like, you're like they're calling you to the office, like you're slacking, time to go.
No, do you know, luckily everybody's worked so hard to get there.
Yeah.
That you know, they're there by merit and they deserve to be there, and everybody's that glad to be there that luckily nobody slacks off. Or
so you've never seen anyone get told?
Well, maybe an odd one.
It's like
The odd one.
yeah, but you know they might
might
just
talk about that.
Yeah.
oh what? You've had friends that have been sent home.
Yeah, my friend's watching here now.
Yeah.
And they're like, don't say it, don't say it. Yeah. And what happens if you like pick up weights? Like, do you get told, hey, looking up at Pudgy there, let's...
Yeah, we don't get put on the scales every week, but you just kind of, you know yourself, and you have to keep track, and it's just being professional. And it's just when you get to that level, you have to be like that, else you're going to get someone who's going to come and replace you, like you said, or...
If when you see the show, you'll understand how we don't put weight on.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours
non sweating, a lot of it's hard work.
So do you even go through like a fitness? Because outside of dancing, you have to be pretty fit, right?
Yeah.
So do you guys go through like fitness tests and like run 5 kilometers, swim 50 laps, you know, row 100 laps?
Yeah, we do. We all go to the gym, especially in our off time. But we find the best way to keep fit is to dance. So we call it like dance fit. Like we all run, do other sports, but basically dancing is the only thing that gets us up to that dance fitness level.
This is so true.
So many times I've come back on tour and I've been running on the treadmill and 10K runs. And then I do that first number, my first solo, and I could still come off, and I'm like, why? I can never get prepared for this, but yeah, so it's pretty intense.
James, Caroline, Lewis, thank you so much for your time. I will be coming to the Teatro at Monte Casino to watch you guys. The show happens until the 3rd of September. Make sure you go and check it out. Thanks so much to all our guests today who came through, whether we're speaking about relationships and all of that. If you're in the mood to be marveled and entertained, do not forget you've got until the 3rd of September to catch the Lord of the Dance Dangerous Games at the Teatro at Monte Casino. From myself and the rest of the Real Talk team, goodbye. We'll check you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Bye-bye.
That's cheeky.